Right, at Kingsway still. There's the extremely bright sun. And we're going to head back down to the surgery. But we're going to walk past, well, we're going to walk down this road that leads down to Hendy's and what have you, Kingsway Crossroads. Little woofers. Good guard dogs though, aren't they? Sounds like it's setting off all the other dogs in the neighbourhood though. It's quite a nice area here. The houses look quite pleasant. The only thing that puts me off a little is the lack of garages in some of them. Because I could do with a garage really. But they are lovely. I mean, these would be ideal for someone who's coming to retirement or whatever and they've just got one small car that they can park outside and they can just walk down to the shops and what have you. You can see the steelworks over the rooftops across the way there. Well, what's left of it. The coatings more than anything, isn't it now? They do steel coatings across there. Cover them with special plastics and what have you to prevent rot. I think the steel though has got quite a good reputation there. Victoria Crescent. Heading into a little one-way down here now. This is an area of Shotton that I've not really been down that much. I've passed through now and then, going down to Hendy's, which is a pub just across the way down here, a little bar. It's been there for quite a number of years. I think is it called the Castle Inn? I think that's its official title. Everyone calls it Hendy's though, because I think the landlord years ago was a Mr. Henderson. But as you can see, there's limited parking for some of the homes, and it's a bit tricky if you own more than one car. And unfortunately, these days, everyone has to work a distance away, so everyone needs a car, don't they? So if there's two of you working in the house, you've got to have space for two cars. Some places have 3 or 4. It's wild.
Thinking it would be quicker to go to Iceland.
Just stop for some directions because I think it's the other street that goes to Hendy's, to be honest. Should have turned left at that last crossroads, but nonetheless this comes back out in Shotton, so that's fine. CCTV all over the house, is that a worrying sign? Why is the CCTV all over the house? Yikes. Or is that just a sign of the day and age? Yeah, there's a blackbird up there on the roof. Hello there, blackbird. And he's Oski. now to the road that leads to, well, what would have been Mr. Bevan's on the left, Butcher's on the right. Back many years ago, across the road here, you'd have had places like Tom the Cheap and Janet's, where you could get your wools and your needles and threads and things. I'm showing my age now though, they've been gone for quite some time. And up there you've got what would have been Woolworths. And years ago you've had the Alhambra up there. Later on it was Tesco's, but years before it was the Alhambra Theatre. It was quite a grand theatre. I think there was quite a lot of famous stage stars that come to the Alhambra. Then it was a cinema later, and eventually closing down. It's a pity in some ways because it'd been nice to have had a cinema in town. It'd have done quite well, I would have thought. I mean, yeah, it probably needed to have been modernised, but just a shame, really, that that we haven't got one. And you have to go to all these out of town park places to go to the theatre and the cinema and what have you now. I think Theatre Clwyd in Mold's the nearest theatre, really. There is a cinema that's being developed from the old bingo hall in Flint, but I think that one's closing soon, if not already closed as well. Brook Road, this is where the Castle Inn, aka Hendy's, is. Nice person let me cross. Used to be a whole pile of gas cylinders across the way there. I think that's why my family ended up coming down here, because the gas cylinders. Because my great grandfather was he a gas stoker or something? But I know there was a gasworks over on the bank there, and he ended up coming down here from somewhere like Stalybridge. One of my grandfathers, anyway. The other one was from Eulo. He's an army mechanic. And he went on to be a mechanic in the steelworks afterwards. Very much into his old trains. He used to be able to build, you know, those trains that pull kids around, the actual steam trains, not electric things. He actually built steam trains to pull kids around. Very clever. Good engineer. And my dad was as well. They both went into mechanical and I kind of went into electronics. But the gas is all gone now from there. Used to have the big risers, you know, full of gas, and they've all gone. Heading up back towards Motor World. And there's another view of what may be Lidl, whichever way you say it, and where the council offices used to be, in amongst all of that glaring sun. Swimming baths are still there across the way. I think they're a private enterprise now though, they're not public owned anymore. Now we're heading back towards Motor World. Wilton's used to have the woolly worm across the road as well, a little further up. Catching these guys up here. Computer says no. There's Wepper Drive. And then just in the roof up there, above where it says outdoor bikes and leisure, you just see cash, and in the end of a W and ends, that's Irwin's. Because it was Irwin's Cash and Carry many, many moons ago. The building with the black fence across the road there, that was Woolly Worm. It's just residential now. And here we are back at the shopping complex. It has changed a bit. There was some seating area here where there's a car park years ago. It was never particularly nice. There was a couple of benches that were generally always smashed and planting areas that were never tended, so it was just full of rubbish and weeds. But I don't think there's a great deal of places where you can actually just sit now and relax. Not exactly the most relaxing area though anyway, to be fair. And the old church across the way is long gone as well. Been gone quite a number of years, that. And here we are back up at the doctor's surgery where the market used to be. That's also long gone. And this is quite a vast looking place, as you can see. It is a big setup. Quite a lot of the doctors in the local area moved here when it opened. But I think they've been struggling to get GPs. I mean, I think it's a national thing though, isn't it? I think it is a bit difficult to get GPs now because the wages are not that fantastic, the hours are terrible, and the stress is unbelievable. So they are struggling. And with the sort of pauses on NHS pay over the last few years, even I've seen many nurses and members of staff leaving and going into private sector jobs. It's an awful shame. But the government doesn't seem to be too fussed. Just say 1% pay rise whilst inflation's 11% or whatever, you know, or no pay rise. So unfortunately people are leaving and going to get better jobs, or better paid jobs. I don't know if they're better jobs. I personally think that the NHS is a wonderful thing, but who am I, eh? Anyway, here we go, back here to jump in the car.